Good morning, everyone. As you can see, today is going to be seed starting day. I have quite a mess on my table, and you can see I'm doing this pretty cheap. I have some old cookie sheets, some old glass pans, some containers that I've bought plant starts in, and then I have a bowl full of just potting soil that I've already wet down. And we're going to put all this in these containers and get some seeds started. And these are just blueberry containers, and we're going to start some lettuce and yarrow in those. So let's get started. All right, y'all. I'd like to start by saying I'm not an expert gardener, but people have been gardening for thousands of years, hundreds of years, without all the fancy stuff. So seeds want to grow. I'm going to put them in these pots. I'm going to put them under some grow lights, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so first I'm going to plant some Butter Crunch lettuce from M.I. Gardener. It says to start indoors 4 weeks before transplanting, and I can transplant this around March 1st. So let's get started. All right, I'm gonna put these lettuces in these little blueberry containers that I saved. It says to plant 1/4 an inch deep. All right, so these are itty bitty tiny little lettuce seeds. So we're just actually gonna surface sow them. And we're just gonna sprinkle them in this container, and we'll see how this goes. If you're wanting good gardening advice, I'm probably not the person to follow. If you want to see how somebody tries to get it done, I can help you with that and what not to do. All right, and then the next one is going to be my slow bolt lettuce, and we're going to do the same thing with it. We're just going to surface sow it, and we'll sprinkle just a little bit of potting soil on top of these here in just a minute, and label them. All right, so I have a little dry potting soil, and I'm just going to sprinkle that on top of these lettuce seeds, making sure to pick out anything that's too big and crumpling up. This is only my second year of seed starting, so there's no fancy equipment here. There's just some dirt and containers that have been used before. I always thank these people with all of their wonderful, beautiful gardens. It's all wonderful, but you make do with the things you have. And why go out and buy the really expensive stuff if I'm not that good at it yet? All right, so now I'm going to take a paint pen and label these. Now, let's see about seed starting some yarrow. So these seeds are super itty bitty tiny, and we're going to attempt to seed start some of these, and then we're going to try to start some outdoors. It's yarrow that I got from Baker's Creek last year, and very unsuccessfully tried to seed start it and tried to direct sow it. So we're just gonna try again. So sprinkle these on top. Sprinkle a little potting soil on top of that. Okay, let's do some tomatoes now. Now what I'm going to do with these is sow a couple per container and then just choose the strongest one. I do not have a humongous garden to plant all these in, so yes, I have all these, but we're only going to be able to grow maybe 8 of them out in the garden. So maybe 1 or 2 of each. All right, these say for the Jubilee tomato to plant 1/8 inch deep. So we're just gonna put it on the top and sprinkle a little bit of soil on top of it. And we're gonna do a few in a container. Okay, so in this container, we're gonna put 3 of these, I think. 4. We'll put 4. Or maybe 5 because that's what I have in my hand. Because we can always separate them later. A little bit of potting soil on top. Now I did wash all these containers before we got started, just with some hot soapy water. Next we'll try the Sunray tomato. Same thing, 1/8 inch deep. Now, I did pick these tomatoes specifically because they are supposed to be heat tolerant, and we have ridiculous temperatures in the summer here in Texas. I have yet to ever successfully really grow tomatoes. I love them. I want to grow them, but I can't seem to get it accomplished. So we're gonna try again. So we're just gonna put 5 seeds in this pot. All right. Next, we're gonna go with the Tommy Toe tomato. And it is also an indeterminate. Same sowing depth. Now we're going to try this ground cherry. We'll see. Never grown any of these before, but apparently they're easier to grow than tomatoes, so we're gonna give it a try. They don't taste like a tomato though. I've heard they have a different taste, but we'll see how it goes. I have these super beef steaks. I have 3 packages of them, and steak sandwich hybrid. But we're not gonna plant them all. Just bought them because they were on sale for 25 cents a piece. And the great thing about tomatoes is you can plant a lot in one container and then separate them later. All right, then we're gonna do the steak sandwich hybrid. I know a lot of people have some opinions about hybrids, and they also have opinions about using all organic methods. I figure anything you can grow is still going to be better than what you could buy. And you have to start somewhere. So part of the soil I just used was labeled organic because that's what was in the grocery store that I was in. And another bag wasn't. I mean, I don't use any pesticides or anything like that in the garden. I use a lot of cow poop. There's a whole lot of that. And we grow our own hay grazer, so I don't have to worry about Grazon being used in my hay because we grow it. Okay, label those 2. Okay, so I have some jalapeno peppers left over from Wilhite that I ordered last year. And I have discovered that I can grow some jalapenos and then just freeze them whole. Like, I literally wash them, throw them in a freezer bag, throw them in the freezer, and use them during the winter to make hot sauce, because that's all we really use them for, that and some fresh eating. Okay, so I would love to be able to grow bell peppers, but I can't ever seem to get them to grow bigger than the size of an egg. Now, I'm really good about labeling the seeds that I start, but I'm horrible about labeling things in the garden. And so I can't remember what does the best. So maybe that's where doing this YouTube will help me. I can remember what I put where. Then we're going to plant a few of these. These are Burpee from last year, hot jalapeno, and they're supposed to be early jalapenos. And you get tons. Can you see? In these seed packets. So you buy one package of seeds and it's gonna last you more than one growing season. Well, unless you have a huge garden and can plant a whole lot. And then we're going to try one more time these sweet pepper California Wonders. And then I'm going to have to find some more containers because I do want to seed start some flowers. I love flowers, but I can't grow flowers either, it seems. So we're gonna give it another try, because if you don't succeed the first time, you try again, right? And maybe some of you wonderful people can tell me all the wonderful things I'm doing wrong and I can be more successful then. Now, I do live on top of a caliche hill. It's all rocks and it's very heavy clay and caliche, and it doesn't grow anything other than mesquite trees and some grass. Not pretty grass, some grass though. So if I grow anything up here by my house, it has to be in containers. Containers are expensive, and so is the soil to put them in, or put in them. Since we do have cattle, we have an abundance of lick tubs. And so I have last year tried to grow some stuff in lick tubs using some compost that we did just with our cow poop and our chickens and vegetable scraps. And I was able to grow a decent amount of green beans, not enough to actually like save, but some for fresh eating. And we're gonna try that again with some more lick tubs. Now, when I show you that area, y'all are probably gonna think it's hilarious because I have to keep my dogs out of it because they like to dig them up. So it's behind a sketchy fence. And then I have like one raised bed in the backyard that I've planted some herbs in, and I have to keep horse panels on top of because the dogs get in it and dig it up too. My garden is actually down at the bottom of the hill, and it's not caliche down there, but very heavy clay down there too. So, is what it is. All right, now I do have to find some more pots and stuff to be able to plant some more flowers, but I do want to go ahead and get one pot of marigolds started. You can direct sow these, and you can also seed start them, but I want to be able to plant some marigolds down there with my squash to companion plant with them to help keep some of the bugs away. So we're just going to attempt to seed start some marigolds. I have been able to successfully direct sow them. They're just not that great. Like, I feel like they need a head start before the true summer heat hits. Because if they're not well established before we start hitting those 100-degree days, then they're pretty much goners. Now this year I will not be trying to grow onions. I cannot grow onions to save my life in this clay soil. They won't grow, and we don't love them enough. Like, I like onions to cook with, but I'm good with buying them in the grocery store. All right, we are going to start these two, this Mexican mint marigold. I wonder if it's like all the other mints in the mint family, like if it's invasive and tries to take over. Maybe it would choke out some of my weeds down there. All right, so I'll show you what these look like once I get them all set up and get some grow lights on. Alright, so as y'all can see, I have my seed trays just on top of some boot boxes. And I have some grow light bulbs and that I got from Lowe's for like $10 a piece, and put them inside these heat lamps. Obviously they're not really heat lamps now because they won't produce any heat, but it works good for those grow lights. And that's it. Like, once the plants actually come up and get bigger, I'll take the boot boxes out. But just wanted to show everyone this, that you don't have to have like fancy grow light system, and you don't have to have the fancy like seed starting trays and the bookshelf to put them on or shelving to put them on. That this will work too. This is how I germinated all my seeds last year and got them growing good, and so I'll show y'all our progress as we make some. Look, I have some yarrow and some lettuce coming up, and today is Wednesday, and I just planted these last Saturday, so it's only been 4 days. That's awesome.